Cancer.
Hello Cancer, this is your forecast for July 2014 and happy birthday. This is your birth month and you have had a year of Jupiter transiting your first house. So, normally we would say this is a great thing. We only get that visit once every 12 years. And yet Jupiter, for the most part, has been all tied up with the opposition to Pluto, squaring off on Uranus and Mars. So from New Year's to now, it hasn't been the easiest journey for you. And I know a lot of you have felt a little gypped by Jupiter not giving you what you had hoped, wished for, and anticipated. However, though, there's never any mistakes in the universe. The universe is always unfolding as it should, and some of you might now, as Jupiter is going to be moving out of your sign here this month, it's going to move into your second house of income, and as it's kind of shifting away from Uranus, shifting away from Pluto, you might now start seeing some benefits to arise, and then you'll think, wow, how easy was this? Suddenly, you might just start feeling that things are falling into your lap, opening up new doors for you. And it hasn't come without a price tag. You've worked really hard here over the last 12 months. So Jupiter is going to be moving into Leo here on the 17th. And so you will, by then, notice this very important big shift. Now, what it has done for you, in spite of the challenges that Jupiter has received, is that it has expanded your horizons. It's expanded what it is you now want. It's like diamonds are only created through pressure, right? So you've been going through this incredible pressure cooker, but the diamonds coming out of it, well, that is you, all right? Because whenever we have Pluto involved in any transit, we're looking at regeneration. We're looking at things renewing itself, starting all over again. And it's in the area of your first house where it has been. And so that has to do with self, personality. So yes, Jupiter has, under this pressure, really made it clear to you now what it is you want and what you no longer want, okay? So, and you can start wrapping this up and saying goodbye to it. This month here, and also because it is your birth month, you have a new solar return. That's renewing your energies as well. So this is good. This is the turning point. We still have a couple of things that we're going to be looking at here this month, especially when it comes to decisions. It's going to be a decision month in many ways, but not in unexpected ways. Not that I feel here, Cancer, because for you it's more like having been on this path and having done what you've been doing. I think it's gradually been leading up to a pivotal point where you know that it's time. It's time to make some of these decisions, and we'll talk about what those are. But here, having the sun in your first house, that is charisma time. You're radiant, you're shining. Jupiter is here. The new moon is here. Not coming in before the end of the month, which will be here on July 22nd. So that is the date to plant these seeds of intentions, as we always do with the new moon, in the area of self. Okay, so last month it was in the 12th house, about pulling back, promising yourself to create more space, more time, listening to what your spirit needs too. But so this month it's more taking what it is you were contemplating last month and shunting it into an action area. Last month was more behind the scenes. Now we're talking about action. Same thing goes for your sun. Last month it was behind the scenes. But you're stepping out on the stage, and you will be on the stage of life for the next 11 months until next time it goes into your 12th house in June of next year. So Mars, another happy news is that Mars too is moving out of this big, grand square, this cross in the skies that we've been having. Mars in your 4th house for family. It's been touring this area ever since December 8th. Now it's moving out on July 27th, so you still have a few weeks left, but then it's done with. Normally, like I've mentioned before, normally it takes 6 weeks to cruise through this area or any area of your chart. You've had it here for like 8 months, but you have been doing a lot of good groundwork, Cancer, and you will see that your family is appreciative of you really being gung-ho. You've been pinpointed, you know, sticking close to your goals, making sure that there is a beneficial harmony within the family structure, where you live, how you live, all of those things family related. Also, you know, for your own inner self, your own inner balance too, is what you've been, you know, really struggling to find that midpoint. But this is now easing up. Mars is moving direct again here from end of May, so it's slowly picking up speed here through June, but you will see now the acceleration here in July, and then it's going to move out of this house here come July 27th, moving into a very fun area of your chart. So, you know, if you're thinking about vacation time, that would be the time to focus on. Fifth house is all about leisure, fun, happiness, you know, dedicating more time to your hobbies that you definitely probably haven't had too much time to engage in over these last few months. But coming into this area now, I think that you're going to love it, especially now also because when Mars moves into this area, then Saturn has turned direct there on the 20th, 21st of July. So that's been, you know, retrograde for 5 months, holding things back, delaying things, having you focus a little bit more on this area with children, self-expression. Maybe those of you that have, you know, been working on wanting to open up your own businesses, for example, there might have been extra paperwork that's been taking some time, but those delays are behooving you, and you will come to see that. But when Mars comes in here, it's going to energize, push this forward, and you're going to be able to take on the reins, you know, and really go deep with this. Mars will be in the sign of Scorpio, and we know Scorpio doesn't do anything superficial, right? It really gets down to the meat of things, especially when it's going to meet up with Saturn in this area. So if we're talking business, well, you are going to be very dedicated, very focused, very passionate, I'd like to say too, in this. And this also goes for love. When we're talking about passion, fifth house is also the house of love. Not necessarily the long-term commitment, which would be more a seventh house thing, but by all means, it still has to do with that love and passion. And then Mars is passion, and then Saturn wants to really, you know, get things on with it now, as Saturn's moving forward as well. Saturn is going to be in this area to December, so you will have that here on your side, but moving direct, all right? So the two of them are going to cruise here, and it will anchor in something here of deep importance, either in your projects, creative projects, but I also feel structurally as far as your relationships go, okay? So we're going to see how that is going to start binding. Whether it's a new relationship coming in, you will feel the depth of it. If you're already in a relationship or you're married, well, you'll see how those forces are going to come together and shunt things forward, okay? So we have Jupiter moving out of the area of self, moving into the area of your financial income streams. You're going to see that take on a big pickup from July 17th. It's going to be there for a whole year, expanding the area of how you can create a better platform for yourself. Once every 12 years, we get a year here where we can work on this, you know, expand this area where we not only can streamline it, but become very creative. Maybe some of you might just want to, you know, turn a corner and do something different. But by all means, I feel that this would be more coming from your own need to change perhaps the area of career. This Jupiter, once it gets in there, lines up with that Uranus up in the 10th house. Okay, they've been squaring all this year, and that's where the challenge has been and where you haven't felt too much at ease. Some of you did leave your job or lose your job, or you're at least starting to question yourself whether this is what you wanted to continue to do. Well, let me tell you though, when Jupiter comes into this beautiful trine of Uranus, which isn't going to be quite immediately, we're looking a little bit, a couple of months down the road, but this is when new doors are really going to open up for a fantastic change, new money, expanding this area of self-worth and anything financial. So, pay attention now over these couple of months upcoming as we go through your readings, all right? But just know that you got great things coming in store for you throughout this entire year. Then we also have, yes, Venus this month in Gemini. It is a time to express your feelings a little bit more openly. Gemini is known for communication, but it is in your 12th house. So it's like Venus wants to kind of pull back, listen to yourself, your own needs, find that inner harmony, kind of wrap up things perhaps too. 12th house is always wrapping up what went on while the planet was touring through the open part of the chart, into this closed part of the chart. So there's going to be a lot of reflection, a lot of inner self-talk perhaps, and then whatever emotions and feelings you're holding and harboring would very well, do well to be expressed to your partner at this time, especially because if you're listening early onto your July forecast here in June, well then you still have Mercury retrograde in this 12th house, okay? So that means that you're still wrapping up something from earlier on, and I feel it has to do with relationships, especially because Venus is in there with it. But Mercury is going direct from July 1st, so it will pick up speed, but it's still in your 12th house for that first week. Then it will move into Cancer here, and that will be by July 14th. So the first 2 weeks, Mercury is still in that 12th house, and it's going to be joining up with that Venus, all right? So, yeah, that is like the main focus. I see that you're still working on career. Uranus is still doing its thing there. Neptune is still wanting to reach for those higher goals, your aspirations spiritually. And I see how you're so getting there. You Cancerians, you've really been at least trying to be so true to yourself, and it has empowered you, in spite of the complications that it has been these last months. And, as an astrologer, I think it goes for all of us astrologers. We always want to present you with great news. And it's hard for us, when there has been difficult transits and having to relate that to you, especially when they've been long-term, like these last 6 to 7 months. It's been tough. But we're turning a corner, and this is what I'm so excited about for you, is that you're going to now start feeling the lift, the change, the shift. So as Jupiter goes into Leo on the 17th, your 2nd house, we got a different shift coming up too, and that's Mars. Mars moving out of that family constellation, moving into Scorpio on the 27th. So that's 2 big shifts. And then on the 19th, yes, Venus is coming into your sign. And you know what I have to say, after the 19th, when Jupiter comes into your 1st house, well, that is the time any woman radiates the best. When Venus is on that rising sign in the 1st house, you will be emitting this beautiful energy, and you will be having that for more or less a month. So you might want to make that work for you the best you can. It just creates all this attraction because of your zest at the time. So we have the new moon this month. It is coming up on July 22nd, and it is going to be in your 1st house. 1st house is personality, it's the self. So it's time to plant those seeds on however you're feeling, the month up to that point, so especially those last few days between up to the 22nd, you will have that feel of the 1st house. The sun has been radiating the 1st house. So, whatever it is you're feeling good and well about here, as it is your rising energy that goes out to the world and how you're being perceived. Feeling good about that. That is when you want to put down the intentions and say, you know what? I love, love, love this energy. And now, of course, Venus is with you in this area too, by the 22nd. And so your intention should be, the way I feel right now, this is how I'd like to radiate. This is how I'd like to shine. This is how I truly am on the inside. This is how I would like, you know, to be for the rest of the year. And you will empower your chart by those intentions and see that that can follow you in months to come. On the 4th, you have a major decision to be made, as the Sun and Pluto here is going to be opposing one another, and so it's between you and your partner. If you're not quite sure what is going to take place, don't, you know, jump. You know, if you can procrastinate just a little bit, I think that will be good. But the situation itself can still arise because the aspect is there. You know, so you will see there's going to be a deeper talk on the 4th. Now, and then on the 7th, you will have a unexpected surprise being presented to you. And this will be pretty much, I feel, coming from the work field. If you have any applications out there, that might be what's coming in. Maybe you will be called into an interview. And so between the 7th and the 9th, important days for you to make some structural choices. And for others of you, you'll also see here on the 9th how this might manifest as a knowingness, a security, feeling grounded, in making some decision that has to do with your children or one of your children. Maybe they're making some decisions here that you're coming in to support, which I think will have a very good outcome. You as a parent will feel strong about whatever news that you're having here on the 9th coming from them. And on the 13th, we have a nice romantic date. It's Venus and Mars doing the dance. There is a beautiful trine there. For you, this is between your 12th house and your 4th house. So that would be you and your partner just having a very nice romantic day. Now, if you're looking at signing any leases, Mercury is direct, you can do so. If it has to do with money and say a mortgage, maybe you're buying, selling at this time, since we're looking at that 4th house that, you know, rules real estate. Well, this would be a great day to sign a deal, a contract, or, you know, have it finalized, you know, and then you're free to go do what you want after it. So, and I know that a lot of you have been a little back and forth on this whole, you know, real estate issue. Should I move? Should I not move? Should I stay? Should I wait? What is a good time for the market? I've spoken to many of you on this too in our private readings, but now from the 13th, you will see that things are really going to be picking up. And with a great follow-up there on the 19th, you might get some action coming in. Or if you have just recently put your house on the market by the 13th, well then there could be an offer coming in here on the 19th, and which may sound really good. You know, you might want to think about it, whether to counter it or not. So I see you kind of going back and forth there between the 19th and the 22nd on the same issue, whether to do or not to do or wait. Or it could work out in a different way. Maybe it could be something between you and the partnership that you're either working with, or it could be the buyer if you're selling. Maybe they might have a little bit of a hiccup there as far as their financing, and you're going to have to wait to see if they're going to follow through, if you're going to give them an extension. Whatever that is, you will know what it is when you get there. But you're doing good. You know, your base here right now is great, and we're kind of out of this massive, you know, double oppositions anyway with the grand square. So you're going to see how this is going to be turning for you and opening doors. You'll see much more of a flow. And then it's your creativity, Cancer. Listen, on the 24th, whatever it is you love to do when you are creative, try to take this day off and follow up and follow through on it. See what you can come up with, all right? Maybe if it's just by pulling back and meditating for a day, listening to beautiful music, something that goes with the heart chakra, the higher chakras are all stimulated here on this day of the 24th. So this is pretty much what we have. We are ending this month, the 28th, with a Venus-Pluto opposition. For you, this is going to be between the 1st house and the 7th house. It's between you and your spouse or significant other, or a partnership that you're working with. And it's kind of going to remind you of what took place on the 4th, July 4th. Whatever decision or compromise that needed to be done then, well, here we have like a new compromise on the 28th, but it's only lasting there for a day or two. So we're good to go on that. So full moon, July 12th, I'm going to end on this note because this full moon is going to be a little powerful here, 12 degrees on the July 12th, and it is conjunct Pluto, full moon and Pluto, and you know how transformative Pluto is. It really gets your feelings down into the inner core. It creates renewal, resurrection of new beginnings, but also in that it also shuts down the old. So having this in your 7th house, it could bring some kind of finality to a situation that has been in the works, that you've been discussing. So you could see how that could fall out. And of course, being in the 7th house, it's also opposing those things that are ongoing in your 1st house, but not necessarily by full degrees. So this should, you know, work out for you. But yeah, I think you will. It is your ruler of the moon too, you know, and so you should come to feel this on the 12th. So mark that on your calendar. But it could also be very romantic in the sense of passion, okay? Pluto can be very passionate, and it is in the 7th house of love. So yeah, have fun with that. So listen, go listen to your moon and rising sign, and I will see you again next month when we have all these new energies now set, opening up new doors for you. Okay? See you next month.